Hello, hello. Happy Friday. I'm so excited to be here with you. My name is KJ Hamus, and this is our Friday evening Slow Flow plus Yin class. Yesterday, I had the privilege of practicing with a colleague of mine, Naomi. And Naomi led my 300 teacher training group through a restorative practice yesterday. And one of the themes that they were talking about throughout this practice was the idea of sovereignty in our own body. And that has really stuck with me. Not only did it stick with me throughout the practice and make me think about my body differently in the practice, but it's really stuck with me throughout that time and even into today. And, you know, what have I been able to hold on to that gives me sovereignty in my own body? And how can I use that sovereignty to create more space? So continue to think about that, wanting to continue that beautiful gift that Naomi presented to myself and to my other colleagues yesterday, and see if that inspires any of you as well as you move throughout your practice and you begin to breathe. So, with all of that, make sure you've got all the things that can help make you comfortable today as we get into the yin portion of our practice. So pillows, blankets, blocks, all the things. You don't have to have just one pillow, you can have multiple. Again, this is about where you're at and meeting yourself where you're at today. So gather up all of those things. And I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable seat today. So for me, being in a comfortable seat includes sitting up on a pillow or a yoga bolster if you have it. I prefer my pillow, so my hips are lifted a little bit above my knees. And then finding my alignment in the spine that allows me to stack neck, shoulders, just directly over the hips in a relatively easy fashion. And that's going to be different for every person. So our neutral spine is going to be different for everybody. So start to explore what that means for you. And it's okay today if you're like, I can't find that. That's fine. You know, this is a practice, so take your time with that. If it feels good, I invite you to close your eyes or find a soft point for your gaze as I ring the bell to invite us into our practice. As we start to settle in here, we take a moment to acknowledge the sovereignty of the land that we're on, and the stewards who come before us. So here in Washington, we're on Anacostan land. And also take time, not only in this moment, but throughout our practice, to honor the indigenous teachers of the yoga practice who come before us, who cultivated this practice, who wrote down the practice, so that we may share it today. Settling into your space, feeling your sit bones on the earth, maybe on your pillow, the earth as it presses into your feet, into your shins. A moment to acknowledge the space around you, even if the eyes are closed. What do you notice with the eyes closed about the space that you're in? About the air as it touches the skin, the sounds that may be accompanying that space. You can see the light as it moves across the eyelids. And you begin to draw yourself inward, noticing the taste in your mouth, an internal sound. You're feeling just your body. Beginning to observe your breath. Do this observation, let it be without judgment, but as a place to start to open up to how you're truly feeling today. And taking time to take a full body scan. Wherever your preference is to start, so whether from the crown of the head down to the feet or from the feet up to the head, what do you notice that you're carrying with you? We've got many different layers in our body. We have our physical layer, our emotional layer, our mental layer, our spiritual layer. So take time to observe and explore all of those different layers that begin to make up who you are. And what each of those layers brings with them tonight onto the mat. And with our breath, I invite you to begin to deepen the breath, if that feels comfortable for you today. Sometimes it feels comfortable and welcome to feel the breath down the entire length of the body. Other times the breath just doesn't want to move in that fashion. You're not going to force it or change it. But if you feel open to it today, if you're in a place where you feel comfortable, start to really deepen the breath using the diaphragm, letting yourself breathe all the way down into the belly. If that doesn't call to you today for whatever reason, and that's your personal reason, that's fine. Just continue to find a gentle breath in and out through the nose, maybe in through the nose, out through the mouth if you like. Just bringing your soft focus there. You can continue to take the observations about what is accompanying you on the mat today, even as you deepen the breath, because the breath can start to open up different things about where we might be tight, physically, emotionally, or mentally, the areas that might need a little bit of extra love and compassion today. As you continue to make these observations with the breath, start to notice or even just lightly think about how you can bring more openness to your own experience, whether that's physically, just taking the shapes differently, using more props, whatever calls to you. How can you use your sovereignty over your own body to bring in more openness and to bring in more compassion to your body and to your practice? And we begin to move into our pranayama exercise, finding an equal ratio between the inhale, exhale, and retention pauses at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. So this ratio is up to you and what feels good and what calls to you. So noticing as you breathe in where you might be feeling a little bit of tension or resistance, and same thing on the exhale. That will give you an idea of how long you might want to consider making the length of the inhale and the exhale. So you'll breathe in for the time that feels good for you, pausing at the top without holding the tension in the shoulders there, breathing out for the same count, and then holding at the bottom for the same count. Again, this is a personal preference based on where your breath is at this evening, based on what you need. So there's no right or wrong to this, but what calls to you, working with the spot that is the most tired, the most resistant at this moment. If this practice does not feel good to you, does not meet your needs tonight, please continue to stay with your diaphragmatic breath if that's what you've been taking, or just breathing in and out through the nose, finding that concentration there. Even with this breath, this work, considering how you have sovereignty over your own breath, over your own body in this moment. What do you need? Taking just about 30 more seconds here. As you complete the cycle that you're on, I invite you to set your sankalpa, your intention for your practice this evening. What do you need from your mat? Not what it needs from you, what do you need from it? And starting to let the breath just return to a more natural rhythm, staying with your diaphragmatic breath if you were already taking that. And if the eyes are closed, begin to bring them open. Just take some time to reorient yourself in the room by looking around, noticing the different fixtures in the room, regrounding in your space. And then as you're ready, then inhale, reach your arms up out to the side, bring them to the level that feels good. So maybe your hands come to your shoulders, maybe they come up a little higher. They can even come up overhead. Take a breath in. As you exhale, gently float the hands back down to it. Take that twice more. Again, letting the inhale lift the arms up as far as they want to go. And on the exhale, bringing them down as gently as you'd like. Last time, breath in. And breath out. This time as we inhale, reach the arms up long. If the hands come over the head, consider interlacing the fingers, pressing the ceiling away. You can always bring the hands in front of you, pressing the person in front of you away or your screen away here. So many options. Find what calls to you. And just feel the stretch along the ribs, along the spine. It's okay if the shoulders start to gently move toward the ears, as long as you don't feel them being hunched. We'll take a breath in, breath out. One more here, inhale. Then on your exhale, let's release our right hand down to the ground. It can be right hand, right forearm to the ground or to a block. Left hand is going to stretch up. Side stretch. So feeling this along our left rib. Consider pressing the left hip down into the earth. We'll take one more breath here. And breath out. Bringing your left hand to your left hip. Gently use the left hand to push the left hip down. Sit up nice and tall. Being gentle to your back muscles. We'll reach our arms up once again. Inhale. And then exhale, left hand or forearm comes down. Your choice. And if there's an in-between stage, take that too, using any props that you need to bring the ground closer to you. Feel comfortable in the shape so you can get the side stretch you're looking for. One more. Breath in. Breath out. Bringing your right hand to your hip, press the hip down. Inhale, lift up. And then as you exhale, just start to roll over the shins, finding a standing position here and a ragdoll shape. So the knees may start to naturally bend, and most of the time they will. Let them bend as much as you would like. So as you fold and there's a deep bend in the knees, awesome. That's your body telling you, hey, we're really tight and this is what feels good. Go with that. Don't try and resist it thinking, I have to have straight legs. We never truly want straight legs in this shape because that blocks the joints and that's not good for the long-term health. Hands can rest on the ground, on your feet, even on your shins. Width of the feet can be hip-width distance or wider. Completely up to you. If it feels okay, if it feels good, take a few rocking movements. Move back and forth, side to side. Just noticing where gravity is pulling you, where your center is. Letting the head hang nice and heavy. Beginning to find some stillness as you find center once again. And hands can rest in your favorite spot. And this might be a great place to have your blocks close by if you've got them. You may want them for this shape, you may want them for another shape. Totally up to you. Blocks will travel, they don't have to stay in one spot. Let's take one more full breath here. And full breath out. Grounding down through your feet. Start to roll up one vertebra at a time. Take your time. Knees will be your last thing to straighten. Head is going to be the last thing to stack on top of the body. Coming into Tadasana Mountain Pose. You might want to start to make your way toward the long edge of your mat. So feel free to adjust so you can see your computer. We're going to use the width of our space, not so much the length. Finding stillness here on the long edge of our mat. And take any movements you might need. Whatever calls to you. My body's cracking right now, creaking and cracking, so yours might be doing the same thing too. It's totally normal. Maybe you bend one foot then the other. Do a little dance with your feet. Whatever feels good, and then come back to center. Your preference of foot, go ahead and step one foot out, creating a wider stance. Maybe the toes come slightly out, heels come slightly in. Hands can be on your hips or your heart center. And then move to your favorite side. You just take a few rocks back and forth in a lunge. So start out light, and then if it feels good after you warm up, you can continue to widen the stance here, all while you're breathing. So synchronize your outward movement with your inward breath. And again, if you'd like, you can even start to come a little lower. Maybe there's other arm variations you wish to take. It could be a great time for a big hug. We'll just take 2 more. The upper body can hang nice and heavy here if that's what you need. Meeting back in center, we'll take a deep breath in. Arms reach up nice and long wherever they want to go. And exhale, hinge and fold. Bow low. Start to draw your toes slightly in, heel slightly out. Go with the natural bend of the knees. So if you start to fold your knees like, we're bending. Cool. Great place for blocks. Bring the ground to you. Starting to open up the back side of the body. Pressing through the outer edges of your feet. We'll take one more breath in here. And breath out. As you inhale, find your flat back. Hands can stay on the earth flat, come up to fingertips. You can even bring your hands to your shins if you'd like. Think one nice long line from the crown of the head down to the tail. Nice strong back. Take a breath in. Exhale, fold. We'll come into our flat back again. Hands can stay on the ground, inhale, or your hands can come behind you if you'd like. Staying there. Breath in. Exhale, fold. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Start to turn your right toes toward a short edge of your mat. Left toes will stay pointed straight forward on the long edge of your mat. We'll bring our right hand down to the earth. Left arm will reach up. Trikonasana, triangle pose. So just a different way to get into it. We're already on the ground. Why not? Great place for a block. And you can bunny hop your feet to shorten your stance. Try not to lock the knee here. If it feels comfortable on the neck, bring the gaze up to the thumb. So depending on where you felt your tightness, you might be feeling it a bit more in the right leg. If you'd like to feel it in the back, consider pressing a bit more to the outer edge of your left foot, drawing the left hip down toward the left heel. And again, everybody's sensations are going to be different. So play around with the shape so it meets what you need. You might widen your stance, you may shorten it. Whatever calls to you here. We'll take a full breath in and a full breath out. On your next inhale, frame your right foot. And then as you exhale, step the left foot back a little longer and drop the left. As we keep our hands on the earth, they can come to the ground or to blocks. Just start to press the right knee forward. And then as you exhale, straighten the right leg into a half split. So moving between the two shapes is calls to you. Again, matching your breath, your internal breath with your outside movement. Pausing in the shape a little bit longer if you'd like. It's okay to let the knee go past the ankle. One more full round here. Breath in. Breath out. On your next inhale, start to Send your heart forward, right knee forward. Let's bring our hands inside our right foot onto the blocks, onto the ground in lizard pose. Be mindful of your left hip flexor. You can always draw the left foot in here more to stay at a 90-degree angle a bit, and that can help adjust the stretch you feel in your left hip flexor. If you'd like a little bit more, consider straightening the leg. Your choice, your body. Take a full breath in and out. Inhale. As you exhale, come back into your half split. Hands can stay on the inside here. You can even bring the blocks a little closer back to you if you'd like. Flexing your foot to help protect your knee. Inhale. Exhale. As you inhale, come forward once again. And then as you exhale, you're going to come into a child's pose. Let's start by keeping this an active child's pose for this one. So pressing fingertips into the earth, maybe the armpits lift off. Knees can be underneath the body, or knees can come wider, even as wide as the mat if you'd like. You may have different sensations. Keeping the knees underneath the body may help stretch out your low back a bit more if that's what you need. Bringing your knees as wide as the mat, make it into your hips. Breath in and breath out. As you inhale, roll yourself forward to a tabletop shape. Option to stay here or pressing back, downward facing dog, inverted V. If you're staying in tabletop shape, maybe you take some cat-cows to help stay in the spine. If you're in down dog, feel free to pedal out your feet. Trying to keep a nice neutral spine, crown of the head pressing down. Observe how your shoulders feel. So if your hands are really close and your shoulders are rolling up toward the ears, widen your stance a bit. We want to help the natural rotation of our shoulders, so you might even turn the hands a little bit with the pointer fingers pressing straight forward, but the rest of the hand could be at like 1 and 11. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Looking between your hands on your next inhale, begin to walk your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat. Ragdoll. And go with the natural bend in the knee. You might find that as the backside of the body starts to open up, you have less of a bend. Great. You might find that you still have a big bend in your knees. That's great too. We don't want to force anything. We want to stay with our breath. Taking a deep breath in and out. On your next inhale, slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Drawing your shoulders down your back, taking a big shoulder roll. As you're ready, step your favorite foot back so you can face the long edge of your mat once again. Legs nice and wide. Start to take your lunges. You might come a little bit deeper this time. Feel free to let the opposite toes come up. Let the upper body even hang heavy. Maybe everything just kind of moves from one side to the other. Totally your preference. You decide. Options are just that. Meeting back and center. If you're standing, go ahead and stand. If your hands are on the ground, stay there. Everybody's toes are going to start to turn in here. So inhale, reach your arms up if you're standing. Flat back if you're already, fingers already on the ground. And then everybody exhale. Taking this shape once again. Noticing the differences. Feel free on your next inhale to walk your hands out farther away from the body, as if you were taking a down dog upper body. It's really just like a wide-legged downward facing dog. If that doesn't feel good, bring the hand back underneath the shoulders. Taking one more breath here. Breath out. Bringing your hands back underneath the shoulders on your next inhale. Exhale to fold. We'll take 3 flat backs, your preference to your hand. So inhale, lengthen, hands can stay on the ground, hands can come behind you. Maybe they float up this time. Exhale to fold. Twice more with your breath. Thinking of a nice strong back here. Let yourself grow stronger. And then fold as you're ready. Last time. Inhale. And exhale. Starting to turn the left toes toward the short edge of the mat. Right toes stay straight. Left hand will come inside the left foot. As you inhale, right arm will reach up. Trikonasana. So slight micro bend in the front knee. And bunny hop your back foot in. So if you'd like to feel a stretch in the back, consider exploring the idea of pressing the right heel down, right hip toward. And maybe this way of getting into the shape has changed where you feel it. That's okay. If you're like, no, not where I want it, and you know another way to get into it, go for it. Up to you. Gaze can stay down if that feels good on the neck. Gaze can come up to the hand. If you bring the gaze up to the hand though, try and keep the neck in line with the rest of the spine. That just helps distribute the weight evenly. We'll take one more breath here. And breath out. As you inhale, frame your left foot. As you exhale, step the right foot back, drop your knee down. Inhales, lift your heart forward. Exhale, straighten your left leg into a half split, flexing the front. Moving between the two shapes. This calls to you. How in this movement, how in these shapes can you have sovereignty in your own body? Does that mean pausing for a bit in each one? Does it mean moving a little bit faster or even slower? Or something else? You decide. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths. And on our next inhale, sending the heart forward, left knee can move past the ankle if you'd like. Again, adjust the sensation in your right leg by bringing the knee closer toward the left leg or straightening it a little bit more. Depending on where you're at, one will increase the intensity, one will help lessen the intensity. So it's totally up to you. And then start to bring your hands inside your foot as you're ready. Lizard pose. If you're using blocks, try not to press into the blocks so much like you're gripping on for dear life. If you are, yeah, just the length of the overall stance. Your next exhale, straighten your right foot. Hands can stay long, or you can bring the hands in closer toward the body. Up to you. Try and keep both hips even, so drawing the left hip back, the right hip forward. You may even need to widen your stance just a little bit. Breath here and breath out. Inhale, start to find your way forward once again. And then exhale, child's pose. So hands can start to release into the earth a little bit more. Armpits can let go. And your choice, do the knees come underneath the body or are they a bit wider? Forehead or chin on the mat. And it's a cheek today. Who knows? And your exhale, pull yourself up to tabletop shape. Option to stay here or option to come into downward facing dog. And adjust the width of your hands fit to your shoulders. Maybe bring the feet a little bit wider than hips with distance. Take one more breath in and down. This time, as you inhale, look at your toes at the back of the mat. Begin to walk your hands back towards your feet. We're going to come into our first yin shape, dangling pose. So adjust the length of the width of your feet as you'd like. Feel free to bring your blocks underneath your hands and bend your knees. Again, working with the natural bend in your knees and where the body's calling you at. Head is going to hang nice and heavy. Try and let the shoulders just fall as they will. So if you're holding some tension in the neck, you may consider shaking the head yes and no, seeing if that does anything. Other option too is you can reach for opposite elbows, placing the forearms on the thighs and folding forward here. We're going to be here for about 3 minutes. Try not to worry about the time. I tell you that so you don't think we're holding it forever, even though I fully understand that 3 minutes may feel like forever in some shapes. Continuing the opening of the back side of the body. Finding your breath. So we're working towards stillness, but some days that's going to come easier than other days. So if movement is what you need throughout the shapes tonight, try and do so mindfully. Doing so as best you can just to make an adjustment so you can feel a bit more released into the shape versus giving into the discomfort. Again, you can decide what is best for you. It is in this stillness, however, that the mind can really start to wander. So this might be a nice time for you to come into your affirmation or mantra if you have. So our mantras are Sanskrit sounds, words or groups of words that have been put together to create certain vibrations in the bodies. And our affirmations are English words or English phrases that we both help us kind of move past the distractions in the mind. So tonight, the mantra might be Om. So the Ah, the U, and the U of the ancient sound of Om. It could also be Shanti, which means peace. Or an affirmation we've been working on recently, which is I am. So any of those call to you to help in these moments as you begin to calm the mind, calm the body in stillness. I invite you to take that now. Have about 30 more seconds before we let this shape go. On your next inhale, begin to walk your hands back out to downward facing dog. To any movement here that calls to you. Or finding stillness if you're being drawn to that. Pausing for a moment as you're ready, just to notice the sensations in the body, checking back in with the breath, the mind, the emotions. Thinking about your sankalpa, your intention, and how that may have changed and what you need for the rest of your practice. Next inhale, to draw your knees down to the earth as we come into the mantis pose. So bring your knees underneath you or as wide as the mat. Mantis can be done with the arms out nice and long, or you can take praying mantis, which will start to open up the shoulders if you'd like. With praying mantis, I tend to use 2 blocks here on a medium level. That's what works best for me, but feel free to adjust that as well. Elbows can come on the blocks then. Hands can come into a prayer position or clasp. And then drawing the thumbs to the base of the neck. So staying there. If you find that this is putting a lot of pressure on the knee, consider placing a blanket underneath it as well. You can even take your pillow and place it right underneath this seat. And that can help the hips sort of soften and feel like they're not hanging in the air if they're feeling a little bit tight tonight. So all of these options are available to you. Even in this shape, as we work towards stillness, how do you have sovereignty over your body in this shape? What can you get from the shape? Again, we're not working for the shape. The shape works for us. So what do you need right here in this moment? Feel free to come back to your mantra or your affirmation if you took one in the last shape. And that is supporting you tonight in your practice. We'll be here for about another 3.5 minutes. 30 seconds till we let go of this shape. You always have the option to come out of shapes early, back to what you need. So be open to that possibility, staying true to yourself. Next inhale. Slowly begin to release out of your shape, whatever fashion feels good. Try and do it softly and as mindfully as possible. Taking movement, if you like. We're coming right into your puddle pose, so on your back or on your belly, even though the next shape will take place on our belly, just to give you a heads up. But puddle is probably one of my favorites, and it just is like a mini savasana. It's an opportunity to let go of the shape in a different fashion and start to see if we can find a bit more release in this stillness. So we might bring that into the other shapes. Feel free to always do puddle pose on your side as well. That can feel really nice, or even in a comfortable seat if that feels better. The idea is just a place where you can melt, letting the earth support you. Once you're ready, begin to lift up onto the forearms, bringing them to an 11, setting up for Sphinx pose. So adjusting the shape to meet what you need in terms of the heart opening and the stretch along the front side of the body. So if you're feeling emotionally a little tired tonight, you may want to bring your hands a little farther out in front of you so the heart can be closer to the ground. If you'd like a little bit more, draw the elbows in, or even straighten the arms just slightly and keep a bend in the knees there. The more you straighten the arms, the more you're going to get a deeper stretch along the front side of the body probably. So just be really cautious of that. This can be an excellent place, and I'm going to do this for myself, for a pillow or bolster underneath the arms to support. Chin can lower to the chest, but try not to let the whole upper body collapse. Think about this. It is a back bend as well as a heart opener. So how can we support the back here so it can grow stronger? Can we get into all the different discs in the spine, as well as supporting the opening of the heart in a way that feels comfortable? So about 4 minutes here. I'm talking for about a minute, so about 4 minutes. Even in this shape, how can we find the ease among my feet? 30 seconds left. Taking a breath in. On your next exhale, slowly lower body down to the earth. Finding your puddle pose, bringing my preference of cheek to the mat, whatever feels good. If the heels want to come out and the toes want to come in, great. Do that. If they want to go the other way, do that as well. Are you able to find a bit more release here? Like the areas that were tight at the beginning of the practice, how they begin to open up or loosen. And then from here, we'll come into mummy pose. So we'll start off in Sphinx. And begin to thread your left hand underneath your right. And there's several options with this shape to meet you where you're at. So if you've taken this shape before, you know exactly where to go for it. If you're new to this shape or haven't done it in a while, follow along with me. So our left arm is underneath our right. We're starting to think about the rhomboids in the back. So some of our main back muscles here that can get tight from hunching over a computer, sitting all day, that type of thing. So first option is half mummy. Right hand will reach forward, chin can be on the left shoulder, block, bolster, whatever you've got. Sleepy mummy, bend at the right elbow, bringing your left cheek down. Or mummy attempting to give itself a hug. So arms will come across the body, palms can face up. If it feels good and you want to give yourself a hug here, feel free to do that as well. So all three options are available. One is not better than the other. They're just, again, meeting us where we're at. So take which option calls to you here. And in this particular shape, we are specifically targeting the back. So as you settle back in here, making the adjustments you need to make. So if the fingers are going numb, that's normal because we are pinching a nerve. It is safe to do so, but if it's too much, because it can be out of the shape a bit more, depending on which variation you've taken. When we think about the sovereignty in our own body and our own lives, want to picture your ancestors and them supporting you in this moment, hands on your back, supporting you through the challenges you're currently facing, the happinesses you're experiencing. Maybe thinking of any words of wisdom, love they could be expressing to you right now. For about 3 more minutes. 30 seconds left in this shape. Next exhale as you're ready. Go ahead and release. Feels good. Bring your arms by your side. Maybe use your hands as a pillow here to rest your head on. Do consider bringing your other cheek to the mat. To even out in the twist of the neck. And as you're ready, begin to find your way to spinning toes once again. We're going to bring our right hand this time underneath our left. So left hand can extend long for half moon. Bending the left hand, sleeping moment, you decide which cheek. Or arms across the body, maybe palms face up this time, or big hug, or monkey attempting to give itself a hug, or actually giving itself a hug, depending on what you do. About 4 minutes total here. Finding the openness and the spaciousness you need from the shape. Settling into your intention once again. Using your mantra or your affirmation. Slow the distractions. Thirty seconds left. So exhale, go ahead and begin to unwind. Free to come into a puddle pose if you'd like. I'm going to invite us into our final shape. And that's going to be a supported fish or butterfly on our back. So you can use just your pillow, your bolster. You can prop yourself up a bit more by having one block for your head and one block for your shoulder blades. I'm putting my head block on the highest and my shoulder blade block on medium level because that is where I'm just at tonight. But you can feel free to lower that as well. Placing your pillow and your bolster on top. Then adjusting from there. Soles of the feet can touch in butterfly, or the legs can be straight. If neither of those feels good, maybe you bring the knees up to the ceiling. Again, it's completely up to you. Arms can rest by the sides, belly. Whatever feels best. Feel free to stay right here if you'd like. Feel free to come on to your back for Savasana, or back onto your belly. You may even want to move over to a wall and bring your legs up the wall. It's for your final resting pose. And then deciding what's going to suit you best this evening. Begin to reawaken your senses, taking in the sounds around you, feeling the weight of your body, or inviting in gentle movement. Staying here as long as you need it, that's what calls to you. You're starting to find your way to a comfortable seat at the top of the mat. If you choose to find a comfortable seat, pause for a moment. Begin just this moment, noticing how you feel, noticing what you still might need. Letting the breath settle back into its natural rhythm. And as we bring this portion of our practice to a close, let's take one more moment to reflect on your own sovereignty in your body, how you can carry that with you to your weekend, and even into next week. And we'll lift our hands to our heart space, honoring the intention of focus we may have set at the beginning of our practice. Bowing our head to our hands in a moment of gratitude, thanking ourselves for making time for our mat, and silently thanking those who joined us tonight to create this virtual community in this virtual space. We'll lift our thumbs to the space between the eyes, the third eye center, the seat of our intuition, honoring once again the indigenous teachers who come before us. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, peace. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and a fabulous weekend. I look forward to practicing with you again.